So basically for this panel, it's new TV platforms, pay TV networks, innovations. So as I mentioned, for this panel we have Deborah Brady from Discovery Networks, Joel Churcher from BBC Worldwide, Reese Cottrell, VP Affiliate Sales of IMC Networks, and we have also Bobby from NBC Universal. Yeah. So first of all, what is the importance of Africa for international networks who are actually based everywhere? So what is the importance of Africa for international networks like yours? Maybe first of all, I'll request Reese to say.
Good morning, everyone. Well, first of all, I think what I should do, having spoken to a few of you over the last day or so, is explain who AMC Networks are. It's not a new brand. It's well, certainly not a new company to Africa, but we were Cello Zone, part of the Cello Media / Liberty Global Group, and AMC Studio, AMC Networks International, bought us 2 years ago. So we have been in Africa for 20 years. We have a portfolio of product. We have 8 channels here currently. So my point is we're not new here, been here a long while, and we continue to grow and develop. So Africa, very important for us. We're an international company. Africa is, I have a little competition with my boss who is Polish to make Africa our biggest market, bigger than Poland. And 2017, I will achieve that goal after 15 years. So I'm very excited. But Africa is a big market, it's an evolving market, it's a developing market. You have a very young audience. Potentially there are huge areas of the continent that are not explored just yet for content providers. Lots of room for growth and lots of development in terms of product, content, devices, etc. There's lots to come, and it's a big and important territory for us. The biggest and most important, I would say.
So, Deborah, tell us about Discovery Networks, what you do elsewhere, and how you envisage more presence in Africa.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Africa also is a very important area for Discovery, and we look forward to the challenges across the continent. It is changing every day. Every trip that we take, there are new players, there's new opportunities, and it's invigorating. Discovery 2 has been on the continent for the last 20 years, started in 1998 with Discovery Channel and Animal Planet, and now we have 7 thematic channels that are broadcasting across the region. So we're working quite closely with our affiliate partners. We have 5 of them across the continent already, to see what the needs are of the various markets in the various regions and developing content accordingly.
So Joel, kindly also tell us about the BBC Worldwide presence.
Yes, I don't think the BBC needs an introduction, but if I just to explain what I do, so I head up BBC Worldwide here in Africa. Now, BBC Worldwide is the commercial arm of the BBC. Everybody knows that the BBC is a public broadcaster. And our mission is to promote brands and to push British creativity around the world. I think we're in an enviable situation. We generate, well, we get delivered £3.7 billion a year from our license fee. That certainly gives us great money to create content. We at BBC Worldwide, we sell over £1 billion worth of TV shows around the world, and we deliver over 200 million profit back to the BBC. It's a virtuous circle. So I think we're in a very lucky position, and it's obviously quite it's quite a very nice situation, but it also comes with a lot of responsibility. I think for us, particularly here in Africa, we have 2 strategies. Ultimately, we have our channels. They sit with multi-choice, and we've got ambitions for that to grow with other affiliate partners. I think our channel strategy, certainly around the world, has had to change. Our channel strategy has changed because viewers are changing. People obviously don't want to sit in front of a TV when we tell them to. And in Asia, our channels they don't sit in the linear space, they sit in the digital space with our affiliate partners. We've had to future-proof our channels, so we've had to, any of you who watch BBC channels here in Africa, they've gone through a whole revamp. We've had to do that because we realise that the space we're playing in is very competitive, and so we've dumped BBC Entertainment. It's now called BBC Brit. We have BBC Earth, we have BBC Lifestyle, and we have BBC First. We're playing to our key strengths: drama, natural history, and factual entertainment. Our content strategy has never changed. Our content strategy is to get our content in front of as many eyeballs as possible. And our biggest customer, as you can imagine, is the US, followed by France, Germany, Spain, Italy, and we've also got developing countries in there as well in the top 20. It proves the point. I always say it's not about international versus local, it's about choice. You'd argue America makes its own content, but they still buy ours. And I think that's the point. I think people all around the world want choice.
Okay. So, Bobby Bird about NBC Universal.
Yeah, hi guys. So NBC Universal Networks International Limited, we've got various brands across the international territory. We work with over 800 affiliates outside of the US. I'm responsible for the channel distribution across our EMEA business. Within Africa specifically, we've got 4 channel brands. We have Universal Channel, which is our flagship channel. It's a general entertainment channel. We've got Studio Universal, which is our movie channel. We have Telemundo, which is our 24-hour telenovela channel. And also we have E, which is our Hollywood news pop content channel. That's a little bit about the channels. In terms of Africa, Africa plays a vital role for us in our channels business. It's one of our key markets, key territories. It's a market where we've seen consistent growth over the years. Viewership for our channels has always increased, and we're really excited about the fast sort of evolution of the African market. You've seen it develop over the recent years, and we feel like it will continue to develop. Our channels have resonated extremely well with DSTV and with their customers, and we're focused on continuing our great relationship with them and their viewers. Really, in terms of our sort of strategy moving forward, it's really to build on the strong portfolio and content mix that we currently have in Africa.
Okay, so Deborah, what are the content strategies for Discovery for Africa? In terms of content strategy, what is your focus when you're talking?
Our content strategy has always remained the same. We have global interest in our content that has local relevance in the market. We invest over $2.5 billion in new content every year, and that is excluding the sports rights that we acquire. It's a very strong global footprint in over 220 territories and regions. So we really do understand the importance of remaining locally relevant in this global environment. So we have different ways in which the content comes into being. We have the commissioning that comes out of the US, which are those big, huge global brands that resonate right across the world. Things like Gold Rush, Say Yes to the Dress, Fast and Loud. We then also have international commissions that come from the DNI area that are global but are loved locally throughout the territories. Again, looking at things like Ed Stafford, World of Dogs, things like that works in every territory where we broadcast. We also then have local commissions where we look to see what is happening in the local markets, and we develop opportunities for our local viewers to become involved in content. It's something that we've done recently on TLC, looking for the next great presenter that we are auditioning for at the moment in sub-Saharan Africa. And then of course we add to that with acquisitions that complement our current offering, things like Dynamo, Troy, and Bear Grylls. We also have had a very long-standing history of broadcasting content globally that has come out of Africa. So in some of our existing content, where we have episodic African stories, things like Separated at Birth, where we have two people that were separated and come back to find each other many years later. There is a South African story in that, which broadcasts globally around the world. Rise of the Warrior Apes is content that comes out of Uganda, which is a fascinating piece of programming following the lives of chimpanzees over a 20-year period. And that's coming to fruition now, busy in editing. That will be broadcast next year. Then Idris Elba. And I have to say, ladies, I have met him. He's awesome. I was on with him in Cape Town, and there's a story coming out of a big fight that he's going to be involved with, and it's happening relatively soon, and we'll be broadcasting that next year. Idris always resonates very well with our market, and for some of it to be filmed in South Africa is wonderful. And then, of course, with something like Shark Week, you can't do something like Shark Week without having some sharks from Africa, otherwise it just wouldn't be right. And that's, again, stuff that's filmed in Africa and gets broadcast locally and globally around the world.
Louise, maybe in terms of distribution, obviously we're talking about innovation, we're talking about new platforms, how you can actually optimize on that. So basically, what is the perspective for your company, and how do you actually look at it when targeting for Africa?
In terms of content?
In terms of, TV everywhere, what are the kind of opportunities which you find and you might be interested to go further?
Well, for us, our portfolio is pretty varied. We have very different brands. CBS Reality is on the non-scripted side. We have Ava, telenovelas. We have AMC, First Window Product. We have Ginger and Preschool. So we have brands from all different sections of the content genres. But basically what we're looking to do is try and support operators very much. It's all about supporting our pay TV operators in what they are doing. In the case of AMC, we're doing that through bringing First Window Product to the continent. Not been seen before. It's going to be simulcast. It is being simulcast with the US. So that helps with some of the piracy issues. You're seeing it at exactly the same time the US is seeing it. We are controlling our rights. So the programs are ours, they're our assets. We are holding them back against other distributors such as SVOD, free to air. Sorry for you guys if you're in the audience. But we are supporting our partners. So exclusive content, bringing it for millennial audiences as well as the more traditional TV viewer, and supporting our operators in everything that they're doing. So positioning our product very carefully to different packages and different demographics, occasionally having slightly differentiated versions of the same product but for different markets. We are supporting by having the rights for all devices, as I say, holding back against other platforms and really supporting our operators and clients as much as we can in their objectives to the audience. And really by having our own product, it means that we have control of what we can give to the operator as they develop over the time. We can work with them, and we've got everything that we need in order to be able to grow and develop with their own products and things.
Joel, maybe how important is this access everywhere for BBC-wide contents to you?
Well, we always say we're platform agnostic. We don't, a BBC Worldwide is ultimately a content distributor. We're unusual in Africa because we're what we call internally, we're a brands-led market. That's not true in most parts of the world for BBC. We sell our content. Here we house it. We put it under our channel brands. We sell to free-to-airs, we sell to DTT, we sell to OTT. Netflix is our biggest customer in the world, and we're very happy with that. They're not a competition. Amazon is a very good customer of ours. I think for us, what we offer for platform is premium quality content. I think the big struggle we have is that as the BBC, we're immediately put in a quality premium bucket there for the affluent. We're not that. We're a public broadcaster. We make stuff for everyone. And our mission is to make sure that our content does reach as many eyeballs as possible. Certainly in Africa, OTT is from my perspective, it's now one of our biggest customers. 2 years ago, I used to walk out of meetings when my team, my regional team, would talk about video on demand players and say, well, I'm in Africa, I'm out. Fast forward 2 years, I'm in the game. I think we provide to Showmax, we provide to OnTap, we provide to Netflix. Netflix is in 130 countries globally, and they've changed the game. They've made people change from TVOD to SVOD, and I think that's really exciting for us. So in terms of technology, I think we're in the game. But just to say, BBC have recently acquired an African production company, Rapid Blue. It puts us in another situation in the value chain. So when governments want local content, we can produce that too.
Okay. NBC Universal, what is the interest you have in terms of any TV everywhere? Do you find it like a scope where you can eventually making the best out of it?
Yeah, I think. Listen, it's an evolving market. We've seen that. We've seen, as Joel mentioned, we've seen the shift in sort of TV viewing habits over the last couple of years, and that's something we have to adapt to as a pay TV channel. But I think in terms of our strategy internationally, it's very much to continue to offer premium quality content to our subscribers, and to continue to support our pay TV platforms that we work with and all of our partners across the territories we work in. With things like TV Everywhere, yes, a lot of the content that we do acquire from third-party studios and our own do now come with an array of rights, and that's something we then pass on to our partners to provide to subscribers, and that's something which will definitely evolve over the next couple of years. But also we're looking, separate to that, we're looking at things like localized content. For example, we've just acquired a show for Africa, which is currently playing out on Universal Channel called Cape Town, which is a show based in Cape Town, funnily enough. And that's something we're replicating across different markets. We're seeing that in Scandinavia, we're seeing that in other territories we're working in, and also focusing very much on E-entertainment. E as a channel has local relevance within all territories we work in, but we've tried to make it very relevant to Africa in particular. I'll talk a little bit later about some of the shows we've got on E coming up. But yeah, really, we do understand that TV Everywhere is very important, but also something that Louise mentioned, which is to support things like piracy. We bought in Express from the US as well, which is essentially content which plays out 24 hours after the US broadcast. And things like that are some of the new initiatives we're bringing in and will continue to bring in moving forward.
Okay. So Deborah, how do you go about making the content that you offer relevant to Africa?
Well, as I said earlier, the global content that we have resonates in all of our markets across the territory, particularly those that have African content that is put into it. The nature of channels like Animal Planet, obviously a lot of that content is filmed and relevant to Africa. But one of the things that we are developing, and we've just announced it in the last week, is that we are now partnering with the Jersey Film Festival, particularly in the filmmaking side of production, in short form documentaries. We've done it already on TLC, as I said, looking for the next great presenter, and bringing them and supporting careers in that area. And we feel that we need to do the same now for filmmakers. So in partnering with the Jersey Film Festival, we are going to be looking for the next great director across Africa, looking at those stories that come out of Africa and those stories that tell those age-old narratives that we're also familiar with. So both on screen and behind the scenes, we're going to be looking to develop more talent across the continent.
Okay. Yes, please.
Can I answer that? Because I think I'd like to answer that because I think BBC often gets sort of accused of bringing its agenda. But listen, I mean, we've got over 200 formats. There are 4 Top Gears around the world. They're Luther's in Russian. We've got 22 bake-offs, 52 Strictly Come Dancings, Dancing with the Stars. I don't think if the content works, you don't necessarily have to customize it. We're just about to release Planet Earth 2. It's the first time in the world anyone's made a natural history documentary sequel. That stuff, the Planet Earth, the original, sold 500 million DVDs around the world. I think the point I want to make is that ultimately we cherish independent producers in the UK. BBC Worldwide invests in over 200 of them. What we do is we give them a chunk of money, we invest in them, and they go off and develop the program. In exchange, they give us the international distribution rights. The challenge Africa has is doing a similar model where they can actually create a creative industry. I mean, if I'm a young African producer and I get it all the time, they knock on my door and they want BBC to buy the show, if I take it under African law, under South African law, I then own the IP. Now in the UK, under Pact, that doesn't happen. The Producers Alliance for Cinema and Television, if you have an idea and you pitch it to a broadcaster, you keep the IP. And that's really valuable, and this is where IP is so valuable. BBC's just learned that by losing Bake Off. If you don't own the show, you've got no content. So I think the challenge in Africa to make local content and to customize local content is to establish a creative industries and make sure that young filmmakers keep hold of their IP and broadcasters invest in them.
Louise, in terms of prospect for customized content of popular shows or popular contents that you have, what prospects do you see of them being accessible on mobile platforms? Because actually customized now means also in terms of format. What prospect do you see for maybe your contents or contents from TV networks to be customized and be available on mobile platforms? No, I mean, it's like mobile platforms, it can be a mobile phone.
Well, I mean, customizing platforms in particular, I mean, what we're doing is creating dedicated feeds for this territory where we can. CBS Reality is now an African feed, and I hope in the future that will become even more differentiated to this market in terms of different areas of Africa. We're looking at a number of things on original productions for that channel. We have 2 in the pipeline for 2017. Telenovelas, Ava, we have. That's all first window product, and what we do is customize that through language. So we know that stuff has not been seen before because we're buying it from not just one supplier, but anyone across Latin America, and we're dubbing that into English and Portuguese. So by the very nature of us undertaking the dubbing, we know it is unique and it's all first window, and we're showing fresh episodes every weekday on the channel. And again, with AMC, as I say, that content, which has come from our own studio, so it's things like Breaking Bad, Fear the Walking Dead, Night Manager, big series, we own those rights, so therefore we can shape that product and customise for platforms to the rights that they need. We absolutely own and control it, and so that we can really manipulate that to what the operators really want. And that doesn't have to be just television, it can be any kind of device, it can potentially be mobile. We also have social media products that we use in order to promote the TV and other device viewing. We're pretty flexible in what we can do now, which is exciting.
So, Bobby, what scope do you see for linear channels to evolve to suit on-demand world?
I think we definitely view on-demand as complementary to our channels business. We're always adapting and evolving our channels. We feel we are already enhancing the linear experience by offering on-demand services ourselves. And we do feel that this definitely complements the linear experience for the viewer, where we create a balance between on-demand content and the linear relationship the viewer has. we are going to continue to evolve our channel brand by continuing to strengthen the content that we have on the channel and to build on the ability that we have internally to create our own schedule to suit the needs of our viewers. For example, with On Demand, we've seen through the introduction of things like Netflix that binge viewing is something which is very popular right now. And that's something that we have taken internally and done things like back-to-back episodes and double runs on episodes on the linear channel. So we are very much seeing what is happening in the on-demand space and evolving that on a linear channel. But I also think that it's necessary to continue to expose our audience to the content that we have in many different ways. And we offer some of our key content on Catch Up and on some standalone platforms as well, across different markets that we work in. Yeah, as I mentioned, we definitely view On Demand as complementary to our linear business.
Deepak, may I just add something to that as well, that I've just thought of? The last series that we did of Shark Week, we did something quite innovative in the market, in that we made quite a lot of that content available only on demand. We did some on the linear channel, obviously, and premiered it there, but a lot of the content was done on the on-demand, pulling people back into the linear space and then having lots of conversations with our viewers in social media and on the digital platforms. So try to surround the entire viewer experience with a piece of content that is very engaging. And then another area that we've been quite innovative around the world is in virtual reality, in the environment, in factual entertainment, in the experience, in satisfying curiosity. Virtual reality is something that plays very well to the Discovery brand. And it's also an environment that brands are starting to get very involved with. So when we are filming content like Shark Week, Mythbusters, Harley and the Davidsons, we create quite a lot of content that we put into our virtual reality app, which has been really very warmly welcomed around the world. And that experience is something that just takes the viewer into a completely different dimension. And as I said, the brand engagement in virtual reality, coming out of the States, what we've seen is a lot of brands have engaged with storytelling now. So it's moved beyond the curiosity space and just look into what you can experience in the virtual reality world. Brands are now starting to tell stories. So little mobisodes, little episodes are coming out almost in sort of like investigative. There's Toyota's done it in America with a bit of content called The Satchel, which is a crime investigation coming out in 4 parts. So it's a very interesting part of content to play with.
Joel, maybe what new opportunities you see in this way of distributing content, new opportunities that new platforms actually provide?
Well, I don't think it's a new thing to say, but the viewer wants Atawad anytime, anywhere, any device. And that's true of Africa as well. The problem, and it's already been said by everybody yesterday, is cost and the infrastructure. I live in South Africa, and I can tell you my internet is terrible, and I pay a fortune for it. And again, it's not just, I ask people in my office, who's got Netflix, who's got Showmax? I'm the only one. And that's probably not, and that's not because we don't pay our staff well. I mean, it's because it's 2 things. It's one, education. I think people are still hooked on sitting down in front of a TV and watching it, an appointment of view. And I think the other thing is people, maybe data, their data's really expensive as well. And, you know, once you've got Netflix, that's $10 a month, then you've got the data, that's another. So that's the biggest obstacle. I mean, South Africa, there's only 13% of households that have got broadband. There's 87 million mobiles in South Africa. So your point is, of course Africans want to watch content on their mobile. I've been in Lagos, they're mobile mad in Lagos, but they're only watching short form because they can't afford the data on the long form. So I think this is as content providers, we're up for it. We've got the content, we know we've got the viewers. I always say in Africa, I've got the 3 Ps. Okay, we've got piracy. Okay, we've got poverty, but we've got population. I mean, that's the one thing that we're not short of, but the problem is that the infrastructure across the continent is just not there.
What are the limitations of low TV advertising markets for you? Like, you are in the TV networks, and how does it impact? Does it have any impact in terms of the contents that you actually provide to such markets?
Yes, I mean, advertising is something we'd love to be able to do everywhere, but in fairness, in all our international markets, we don't have that much advertising. It's not something that we've based our business upon. The UK is very different, the US is obviously very different, and the only other really important market for us in terms of advertising is Poland. I can feel things changing here, that obviously things are growing, the business is developing, things are becoming more and more sophisticated. So I feel we do have some advertising here, and I think that's going to grow over the next 2 or 3 years. But we're still very much supporting the paid TV model and building our business that way, and we hope advertising will build over time.
Deborah, that?
Yes, to add to that, I feel very strongly that we need to look to the development of strong, robust data across Africa to see what is happening with viewers, how they're engaging, what their opinions are of content, so that we can develop more ROI models, be a little bit more responsible in the advertising opportunities that we are bringing to Africa. As everybody knows, the amount of information available out there on audience measurement, advertising spend is very limited. And I think if we all do something and band together to have some sort of a JIC maybe to support more robust research across Africa, we'll be able to underpin and motivate for more ad spend to come onto the television platforms. But what has helped with our networks is to look at doing things slightly differently, looking at brand partnerships with advertisers and some of the talent or content on our channels, so that we can also surround the opportunity more of a 360. So there's activations on the ground, there's PR, there's ancillary right exploitation, there's linear, there's digital, and looking to see how you can pull things through the line, above, below, around the line, to make advertising possibilities a little bit more viable.
So what I did want to hope is just, whilst not really relying on advertising here, what we are building now is sponsorship opportunity, and that's being built in order to help invest in local production. So we're sort of using sponsorships to build product for our channels that is localised, and we're just trying to invest it that way. It's not our sole income.
So, Bobby, Africa is a market to be and to stay, right?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, we definitely believe so. We believe as pay TV linear channels, the channels are still very strong. There's been a lot of talk about on demand, but we still feel linear channels are very relevant in today's market. A good example of this is in Africa. Our channels currently on DSTV are some of the best performing channels that are out there, and we see this across the other territories that we work in. And I think the fact that we continue to invest heavily on content for our channels, whether that be on new programming or on localization, is that really shows our long-term strategy and aim for particularly Africa as well. And I mentioned earlier about some of the local content we had on E! We recently filmed at the South African Film and TV Awards, which very much sits in with the E! brand. We've done a Beyond the Red Carpet show for that, and it performed fantastically well for us. It was similar to what we do for the Oscars and the Grammys, where we go onto the red carpet. And also we are launching a show called EVIP, or we have launched a show called EVIP, where we're shining a light on African talent. And we feel that being in the market, this is something we should do. We're supporting our partners, we're supporting the local region. And again, it's just proof of our commitment and sort of long-term commitment we have to the market.
Okay. In a moment, we will welcome Jean-Marc Belchi from France 24, for the time being, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your contributions in this panel. Thank you.